Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is trainer education. We're going to talk about whole health, so WHOLE, so holistic health, I guess. And we're talking about maintaining a social life. So this is definitely helpful for trainers, but this would be true of, or helpful hopefully, for anybody that has just a very busy schedule. If they work over 40 hours a week, and or they work a job that just kind of has like more spread out crazy hours, which is typical of personal training because your most busy times are often around everyone else's work hours. So either before people go to work or after they come home from work. So that can leave for a little bit of a chaotic schedule, and a lot of trainers will sometimes then struggle to maintain a healthy social life. Now, this is true for other professions. So hopefully anybody listening to this will find these tips helpful. Okay, and then as trainers, we often our clients just talk to us. So they have troubles and they have struggles in their own life. So I think one of the benefits we can do by having our shit together to some degree is be able to help other people and kind of offer things that have worked in our lives, or give them insight into things that haven't worked and wouldn't be worth their time. So kind of red flags and things. So one of my motivators to live the best life I can live, even external of physical health, so just living all around the best life, is because I know that the things that I learn and what I can do correctly in my life, I will have the ability to share into other people's lives. So not only do we want, as trainers, our clients to be healthy and happy in terms of a physical sense, we would like them to be healthy and happy emotionally, spiritually, relationally, mentally, all those areas. So that kind of leads into what do we mean when we say whole health. Is there is the physical aspect of health. Okay, body fat levels, strength levels, blood levels, blood markers and stuff like that. There's physical health, but there's also mental health, emotional health, relational health, and spiritual health. And sometimes people include other things like financial health and other odds and ends. But the five that I like to kind of focus the most on are physical, mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual. So what I wanted to do with today's podcast is focus on that relational aspect, and more so in regards to a social life. So there is relational in terms of like family or like a spouse or significant other, but we're going to try to talk about more social life in this one. So as trainers, typically the physical aspect of maintaining a healthy life is pretty easy for us because it's our passion, it's what we like to do. So I've gone several times in my life where I've worked out every single day for over a year. I've done diets that were always crazy extended, and even when I'm not on a quote-unquote diet, I'm still eating healthy all day, paying attention to kind of like my habits. And I might not be trying to have a six-pack abs right now, but I'm also going to always keep an awareness of being in what I deem is a good enough shape for me. So yes, I would want to be in good shape for business purposes. Like, it's hard to help other people be healthy if you don't live healthy. But also, there's just generally, I want to look good, whether that helps someone or not. So that kind of comes more naturally to eat healthy and exercise and take care of our physical health. But often trainers will struggle with relational health. And it sounds kind of funny is because as a trainer, you tend to talk to people all day. So you get plenty of social time. But often you're talking to them as in a professional setting, so a very formal setting, or you're talking to them as like a counselor in a sense, or a teacher, not really as a one-on-one like friend or buddy kind of conversation. Now this is my own interpretation of how to be a trainer, is I don't think it's appropriate for trainers to dump their shit onto their clients. Your client does not want to come and hear you whine about your life. Okay? Now this is, again, people might disagree here. But typically, what they're coming to you for is not only to get control of their physical health, but it has a potential to be a happy time for them, a social time for them. It's a time where they gotta get to separate from the world. So I think to myself is like when my clients come through the gym doors, I want them to leave the crap of their life outside. And I want them to come in here and have an hour to just be themselves, be healthy, be happy, be surrounded by positivity, and just kind of see how good life can be. So I do talk with my clients about some of the personal details of my life, and they'll hear, if I'm struggling with like a little bit of an injury, sometimes they'll ask. Maybe they'll ask how my weekend was, and I might have, something happen that weekend, and I'll be like, oh yeah, my car broke down, so that was kind of a bummer. I had to get a new battery and stuff, but yeah, life happens, and then we move on. So I'll be a little honest, here and there, but I don't dump into it. I don't dive into it. I don't kind of make my needs be the focal point of their training session. So that's my opinion. You don't have to follow that, but I do think that it's a respectful way to handle their session. So they are paying you to learn, come be healthy, and also be in a positive, happy environment. They're not paying you so you can get counseling. Okay, so in regards to that is so you do talk often throughout the day. You have a lot of social connection, but there isn't that level of kind of like I don't know how to explain it. It's not that level that you would talk to like your closest of close friends. And that's something that since you don't have that throughout the day, you might spend 8-10 hours talking, but it doesn't have that same release as like that 30 to 60 minutes with a friend where you can just, breathe, relax, be yourself kind of thing. So that's something we miss out on, and that's what we're going to talk about today is social life. But also we focus on we tend to miss on mental health as well. So we focus on business, we focus on personal development in terms of like learning as much as we can to be the best trainer we can be, and that means that often we forget to have other interests. Okay, and we never have a release from the stress or the pressure of business or constant personal development. So I found myself in this rut many times is I would be kind of hanging out with people or I'd want to go talk with people, and I think to myself is like, holy crap, I don't know anything other than like gym stuff. So somebody would be talking about like a new movie and I'm like, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Or they'll talk about, I don't even know, like like the newest like singers or something like that, or they'll talk about so and so from work about this stuff, and I don't really like gossiping, so I'm not going to get involved in that much. So sometimes I really didn't have any interest outside of training and nutrition, so I was kind of like a stick in the mud and didn't really know what to say. I felt awkward, so I'd almost shut myself down because I would perceive myself to be a boring person. And that's not true. And I'll have to maybe make a separate podcast for each of these areas of health. But a couple of the ideas I did for that was I started listening to podcasts and audiobooks like throughout the dead parts of my day or during workouts. And sometimes they're business related, sometimes they're personal development related, and sometimes they're just a funny podcast that I wanted to come across and I liked. I have another series of podcasts I listen to that are kind of like spiritual based. And what I like about that is it gives me concepts to kind of think of through life. So, kind of like a different mental construct that I can use throughout the day to kind of view my day through a different lens. And then when I'm talking to my closest of friends, we just kind of talk about like, hey, have you ever heard of this concept? And I'll explain it to them a little bit. And you ever see that like in your area of life or anywhere in your life? And they'll say, yeah, I think the same thing and I do this and this. And I really love those type of conversations. Not everybody does. But I really love kind of personal development conversations or ways to view life, ways to kind of like organize thoughts. So I am thankful and grateful that I have a couple close friends who like that kind of conversation. So we have a good time kind of like nerding out on stuff like that. So, but that's one tip that I did was I took podcasts and audiobooks and like my downtime of driving to work or driving home from work or, folding laundry or doing dishes or like I said, sometimes when I'm working out, just doing a casual fun workout, I'll listen to stuff like that and it gives me a separate interest. So you can maybe find some kind of pop culture type podcast and that'll give you something to think of or something to do or learn about or have another conversational topic when you're out with friends and doing things. We also have emotional health. So the reason why trainers often struggle with that, and this would be true of other people who have like counseling or teaching type positions, is you tend to have other people's issues as your main focus throughout the day. So you have a client come in and, they're just kind of like struggling with something in their life, or like, you'll say, hey, what's going on with our food here? Like we don't seem to be following our diet well. And they'll be like, oh, you know what, my, say like their kid's having some health issues and they've had to been running to the hospital and their schedule's just been a little crazy. And then you start diving into like, okay, that's a bummer. I'm sorry to hear that, and how's your kid been? What's going on? And you tend to kind of focus on other people's emotional health, and that's like kind of your whole day. And very quickly, if you're not careful, you can kind of become like the garbage truck where everybody comes in and they dump their emotional garbage on you. And that can be very draining as a trainer or a counselor or a teacher, because you almost have a never have a release to dump your own garbage anywhere or to even sift through everybody else's to get to yours. So we often just kind of don't take time to kind of look at our own issues. We focus in on everybody else, and then we wonder why, we have our own kind of little personal breakdowns and, kind of like burnout issues. So we often don't take time to focus on our own emotional health. So then like kind of spiritual, the same thing as kind of the mental thing, is we focus so much on business, we focus so much on personal development, we often don't take time to put things into the bigger picture. So where does our life and our actions and what we do every day, how does that matter to the grand scheme of things? So those are the areas of health. And like I said, I'm probably going to make a podcast now that I think of it, of each individual area and what I've found, the trainers that I talk to, their struggles they have, and then what collectively we've all tried, including myself, that seem to have worked well to find some better balance. So in regards to social life, like we said, with training, it can be very hard because sometimes your working hours are when you would want to be social, okay? And you almost have like such a stretched out, fanned out work hours that it can be hard to kind of feel like there's individual time set aside to where you could be social. So often by the time you get to Friday night or Saturday, and this would be universal for everybody, what I'm about to say, is you get to Friday night or Saturday and you're just so damn tired, you don't want to go out and do anything. You just want to stay at home and sleep, And it seems like we can just never, ever get enough sleep. So how do we handle this? Okay. Now, before we get into that, there is an effect that spouses can have on us. So if you have a spouse or you have a significant other, is sometimes they can be a benefit in that they might be like a social butterfly and they're super excited all the time, and they can draw you out into social things. Okay, that helps keep you socially active in ways that you probably wouldn't do on your own. In those cases, identify that they are a huge, huge help in your life. They might be so damn annoying at times that you just want to tell them to shut the hell up, and I'm too damn tired to go do anything. Why do you always make plans and blah, 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 blah. Okay? But those people are super, super helpful because they're going to push you outside of that like lazy comfort zone. They're going to keep you social, keep you active, keep you going out and doing things. Okay? So don't shut them down all the time. Accept the fact that it's good for you to go be social and get involved. Okay, so shut up and do the stuff they want to do. Don't fight the process. Recognize that they are kind of like the inner voice that you need to keep you social, but you keep suppressing and giving a bunch of bullshit excuses to, and you're always too tired to listen to that voice. So if they are being that voice for you, awesome. Okay, good, 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 good. Now, if you have a spouse who is also in a rut, and they're struggling with the social life balance, okay, and they don't know what to do either, well, it's time for you to step up, okay? If you're with a significant other and you guys are committed to each other, you are hashtag teammates for life, which is what I like to use, is you're supposed to be there together for each other. You're teammates for life, okay? You're working through life together. And sometimes as a teammate, you have to pick up the other friend and carry them a little bit, okay? So if you're both in a rut, it's your turn to step up, okay? You got to be the teammate that they need you to be the person that even you need to be. So you just got to step up and take control, okay? And we're going to talk through this on what is at least one idea or an idea on how to do so. But before we got into any of this, I wanted to recognize that there is sometimes a positive or a negative to having a spouse. And as you go through this process, if you do have a spouse, you want to make them part of this process. Okay, so get them involved, and you can maybe do it yourself first to see what your ideal answer would be, and then take them through it too. And don't try to convince them of your thing. So give them a chance to kind of get their own insight and input, and then kind of match your heads together and come up with a good compromise, and kind of go from there. So one of the things that I have found very helpful for myself, and what I hear from the other trainers I work with, like with counseling and consultations. So like the other trainers I get to talk to about just being trainers, is weekly planning. So it is very, 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 very helpful to plan and block off when your work hours will be. You need to create a finite window, okay, and starting points and strong ending points of when your work hours will be. So you need to find out what is like you have a pretty good idea of the base amount of work that you need every week to make it work. If you don't have an idea, holy shit, you're behind. So start this stuff right now, okay? But try to block off your hours. Plan like certain times that you're going to be able to kind of group your work together, and that'll allow you to group together times for social life. So this does mean that sometimes you have to say no to clients after a certain time of the day. So maybe you will not take clients after 7 p.m. Okay, so that way you can have time to yourself and for relationships after 7 p.m. Now, some people are going to say, holy crap, what am I going to do? Like, I can't just turn down money. True, you don't want to turn down money, but there's other damn times of the day to make money. So go find some other time of the day and what it'll take to make money there. So if you have, say, for example, 2 to 4 p.m. every day, and there's really nothing productive to do there, you can't find clients to come in, okay, that's not really a great time to be social because everybody else is at work, find another way to make money. So we have done a podcast in the past about financial kind of like options. Give me a second here. I'm going to really try to find that. But it would be, as a trainer, ways in which you can make money in different avenues than just training people in person. So I really, really, really wish I would have looked that up ahead of time. Crap. Okay, right there it is. So podcast number 304, diversifying income without spreading too thin. So what that kind of referred to was, what are the different ways in which we can make money without feeling overwhelmed with so many damn ways that we're trying to do it that we don't make a good, significant effort into one individual area. So I might find 2 to 3 ways that I can make money really well that fit my personality and my skill set. But if I try to do a dozen, I'm never going to be really good at any one of them. Okay. So, but that would be a great podcast to check out. So that was 304, I believe. Yeah. So podcast 304. And that'll give you ideas on different ways to make money in times that you felt like, okay, this is a dead time, and it would be great if I could make money here, but can't get clients, and I don't know what to do. So go listen to that podcast, and recognize that you will have to block off certain hours to make sure that you make time for relationship health. This is also going to help you control your mental health and your emotional health. So this is a must do. So when I first opened the gym, I had bills. Okay, so I think there's a TLC song way back in the day about that. But I had tons of bills. And I was training 50 hours in person a week. So that was 50 hours face-to-face with clients. I then had to write all of their programs, all of their nutrition programs, and I did individual programming, and I still do individual programming. So it wasn't like I had one program and gave it to 12 people. I literally wrote individual programs for every single person I worked with. I then had to be the janitor of the gym, the maintenance worker of the gym. I had to do all the paperwork and taxes and finances and everything else. So, as you can imagine, that was not a very balanced part of my life. But it paid the bills, it got the gym going. So I needed to do that. I think it was like 3 or 4 years. And that was what was needed. So when you read business success books, they will tell you that you have to have a balance from day one, and like this is the way you should do it, and it is absolute bullshit because it's not the way that you're going to be able to do it. Things can't be perfect. You can't always be balanced, okay? So we talked about in podcast 300 for trainer education. It was titled The Mistakes You Must Make. So, podcast 300, we discussed the mistakes you must make. Meaning these are mistakes in quote-unquote business books that'll tell you how to be successful, and they'll say those things are mistakes. They're full of shit. You absolutely need to do certain things to make your business successful. Okay? So that's just the way it works. Sometimes you have to invest 3 and 4 years of misery, like I did. It wasn't miserable, but it was, yes, it was actually. It was miserable for a good cause. Let's just say that. But I had to invest that to get where I am today, to where I can work a more balanced life and actually be able to do this as my sole income, and I get to live a life doing my passion, which is such a rare thing, and I'm very blessed and grateful to have that ability. So, but that's what you got to do is you've got to plan your work, okay? You got to chunk off work into times that are needed, okay, and how you can make enough money, but then you also have to be careful to make sure you leave open times to be social, okay? Once you have your work planned in, you want to then plan like non-work essentials. So when are you going to do things like clean the house, like clean your car? Actually, time for planning. So when are you going to plan? You're going to set up miscellaneous times just for like when life throws shit at you, like running errands, doctor appointments, crap like that. If anybody has trouble with planning, shoot me an email, brutalironjim@gmail.com, and I'll send you the resources I like and what I've found that works well for me. Okay? But you got to do that. The reason why you must plan your work and then you must plan non-work essentials is because only then will you know when you can be social. You can plan your social activities, and whether you want to do them or not, you got to go do the damn stuff. Okay? But if you always feel like it's conflicting and you're never getting enough work done, you're always going to abandon the social life to get more work done. So if you create your work structure and say, this is when I'm going to work, this puts aside enough time for me to get my work in that's needed every week. So maybe you need 60 hours of work a week. Plan that shit out. So you got to plan when you're going to do all 60 hours. You have to then plan non-work essentials. And then you'll see where your social time is. You might find, okay, at 6 p.m. on Fridays, I have time to be social. Maybe even from 5 p.m. and on Saturdays, I have time to be social. Maybe Sunday midday, I have time to be social. You can find those times. Then, once you have those times, you have to plan to meet out with friends, okay? You can do self-activities. So you can go, like, take a nature walk if you want. You can go do whatever the hell it is that people individually do to make themselves happy. I have no clue. But you can go do individual things, but it doesn't really help the social life. So it's good for emotional and mental health. But if you want a social life, you have to have people to be social too, okay? So you have to plan to meet with friends. So find any friends you can find who are willing to hang out with you. Okay? So get them involved. Find fun stuff to do. So things I've done in the past is I found a place before that offered free dance lessons. So you could actually go there and they would do like a 30-minute free dance lesson, and then you're supposed to like hang around and buy drinks at the bar and stuff. But it was a free dance lesson. And you got to go be social, have fun, dance around, act like a fool. Went for walks in the park with people. Go to like kind of casual restaurants where they have like, oh crap, I just forgot what that game was called. Cornhole. So you do cornhole tournaments. You can do beer pong stuff if you do that. But go to restaurants that kind of have like that fun, relaxed feel. You can do city events. So just go out and be active. Like go to farmers markets, go to art festivals. There's music festivals often. So if you live near a biggish city, you can find things that are out and about and go do. So go out into the world and be active. Okay? If you don't have anybody, really try your best. Find anybody from work. Okay? Maybe if you're a trainer and you do have a good client that you really click with, that you wish you could be friends, try it. Okay? It's not typical that people would recommend to mix business and personal, but if you don't have any personal life and you're going to burn out and you're going to quit your job and you're not healthy, you're not happy, mix the damn stuff. Okay? Get healthy, get happy. Okay? Break the rules if you have to, just if that's what's going to save you. But go out, find somebody. Okay? Plan to meet out, do something active, fun and active. Okay? Set it like an appointment. If you only go when you feel like you want to go, you'll never go. So, too often when I talk to people, they say, I'm too tired. You are an adult. You are now, for the rest of your entire life, too tired for everything. That is your normal. The feeling of being too tired is what's called being an adult. Okay? So if you always did things based on whether you wanted to do them or not, you would just sleep all damn day like a cat. Okay? So you are going to be too tired. Yes, that's true. But plan it, put it as an activity, set it like an appointment, and just go do the damn thing, tired or not. Okay? It's going to help you. It's going to make you healthier. You can sleep when you get back. Okay? You'll be fine. You'll survive. So set it like an appointment and go whether you feel like it or not. Also, designate someone to plan the activity. And I'd recommend not making that the same person every time, because they're going to feel burned out and underappreciated. So kind of rotate that through. But make someone responsible to plan the activity for the upcoming kind of weekend or whenever the date is. If you don't plan anything and you don't have anything set in stone at the last minute, you'll all decide to cancel it because you're all going to be too tired and you won't want to go do it. So set someone to plan the event, okay? And like I said, make it rotated. Don't make the same person plan it all the time. So that's going to be the best thing, is you need to plan out when you're going to work. You need to plan out when you're going to do your non-work essentials, the things that life are needed, okay, but they're not fun to do. And then you'll know where you have time available to be social. Find somebody to go be social with, find activities and set it like an appointment and just go do the damn stuff, whether you feel like it or not, okay? So just like we're disciplined with other things in our lives, like training, nutrition, blah, 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 okay? We need to create structure and discipline with our social activities. So we have structures for how we want to work out. We have structures for how we want to diet. You have to create a structure for how you want to be social. I know that sounds really dorky, but if you are struggling with a social life right now, guess what? You are failing. So trying anything, even if it's a dorky thing, is probably going to make more success than continue to do nothing that is failing. Okay? So if it sounds dorky, you're more of a dork if you just don't do it. So if you make no changes and nothing changes and you stay unhappy, you're a dork. I'd rather be a proactive dork who has a fun social life than a hermit dork who whines about not having a good social life. Okay? So the other little tips I'm going to give real quick are be careful who you spend time with. Spend time with people you want to spend time with, not who you feel obligated to spend time with. If somebody is always a Debbie Downer, do not go hang out with Debbie. Okay? If you have a negative Nancy in your life, don't hang out with Nancy. So we don't want any Nancys and no Debbies in our life. Okay? So sorry, any listeners there. But you want to have good people around you. So there's that quote of you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So who you spend time around, their behaviors, their viewpoints, their mannerisms, their attitudes will all influence you. It'll either make you more like them or it'll make you exhausted trying to fight off their influence on you if you don't like it. Okay? So spend time with people who are good for you, not who you feel obligated to spend time with. The other thing here is be a top 5 person. So we're talking about Nancy and Debbie, but you better not be a Nancy or a Debbie. Okay? When you go hang out with people, be happy. Okay? You don't have to be fake happy. We're not asking you to be like, Barney the Purple Dinosaur from the 90s. But you need to be a top 5 person. You need to be someone that other people will benefit from being around. Okay? So take a deep breath, get your mind set before you go be active and social and say, I want to be the best version of myself. I want to bring happiness and healthiness not only into my life, but into these people's lives as well. So I am going to be grateful. I'm going to be happy for this moment, and I'm going to focus on the good stuff. So that's what you want to do. Give yourself a little pep talk and be a top 5 person. So hang out with people who are good for you and then be a good person for the other people you have. Okay? So these are quick tips, and it's stuff that I absolutely promise you will work because I've seen it work with myself and with the trainers I talk to. Okay? So put this stuff into action. You now know what you can do to have a better social life is to plan it out. Okay? Take charge of it and create a structure just like you do with training and nutrition. Okay? Stick to that structure and hopefully it'll help you create a better social balance. Cool. Okay? So now, real quick before I go. So let me restart.